Howdy folks, I'm Brian.
I'm Amber.
And as you can see, I'm being basically crushed by this title. It's a massive title. Let's get started. Alright, our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for making inappropriate noises when my mother-in-law called my husband's phone at 2 a.m.? I'm sure you can all see where this is going. My husband Kevin and I got married months ago. Ever since we moved away, his mom has started calling more often. She had a mental breakdown when she heard we were moving. She begged that we need to stay near because she needs him, though her two older sons are there. Anyhow, she'd call at random times and started calling in the middle of the night, specifically at 2 a.m. I thought this was weird, but she said that she wanted to hear Kevin's voice but was too busy to call during the day. Kevin responded to her calling every single time, saying that he's worried there might be an emergency. It's exhausting and completely ruins our alone time. I asked her to call at like 10, but no, she kept calling at 2. Kevin said he can't bring himself to ignore her calls and asked that I be patient. Well, last night, I wasn't having any of it. I waited till Kevin was asleep and I put his phone on vibrate and I waited for her to call. 2 o'clock rolls around and the phone starts vibrating on the nightstand. I stretch my arms to answer and I start making inappropriate noises from the bed. I'm talking on about full moaning and then some dirty talk and then moaning. A few seconds in, she ends the call. Kevin wakes up and asks if I was alright and I tell him it's just the fever. and then he goes back to sleep. What? Is he sick? I woke up to a computer disaster with Kevin angrily asking what I did last night when his mom called. Clearly she was livid and mortified because Kevin said that she was traumatized by her having to think that we were having adult fun time when she called. I told him what I did and insisted it was just out of frustration, but he said I shouldn't have done that and it embarrassed him and made his mom uncomfortable. That's almost as uncomfortable as someone calling you at 2 a.m. every night. I said she was calling at 2 a.m. and he still said I acted childishly and potentially harmed his relationship with her. I seriously doubt that, Kevin. I told him just to tell her I was behind this, and he said, oh, don't worry, I will. He's like, I don't have any problem at all throwing you under the bus. Then demanded that I apologize to her immediately, but shaming texts made me refuse. I might have went about this the wrong way, but I was just frustrated, that's all. Am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
So I really have a hard time faulting OP in this situation. She's been calling in the middle of the night, interrupting their sleep, and making life miserable for OP. She reacted out of frustration for a situation that she's trying to figure out a way of resolving because her husband isn't doing anything to fix the situation. He's in fact encouraging her to call at this late hour and abusing the emergency line here. He needs to start answering the phone at the middle of the night and saying, if this isn't an emergency, Mom, then you need to hang up and call back tomorrow instead of talking to her. And by doing this, he will show her that there's a boundary and she can't cross it. And I think this is really important because it's not healthy to have your sleep interrupted like this. OP's probably exhausted because of the lack of sleep, and I can only imagine that this just disrupts her sleep cycle and bothers her a lot. So while I do think that OP probably didn't handle this necessarily the best way in the world, I also have a really hard time faulting her for it as well. So let me know what you folks think. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. Was it childish? Absolutely. But so is she. However, the biggest problem here isn't your mother-in-law, it's your husband. Yeah, I tend to agree on that. Not the jerk, they seem to have a codependent relationship and you're stuck in the middle. He says you made his mom uncomfortable. Always being woken up at 2 a.m. isn't comfortable for you either, OP. The above post is spot on. Your husband is the problem. Yeah, I think everyone's kind of in agreement here. He's encouraging this. Exactly, and it might be an emergency BS. If it was, she could call one of the two other sons who live closer to her. That's actually a really good point that I didn't even think about. She has 2 other kids that are nearby her. If it is an emergency, then she has other people she can rely on, and it doesn't need to always fall on OP and her husband to answer the phone in the middle of the night. All right, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Being Unwilling to Go to Disney? I'm a 32-year-old female, and my 32-year-old male husband and I have been together since high school, 16 years. Background, when we were younger, we made some stupid financial decisions that are still on us. We were doing okay until about a year ago. My husband does rent and I do utilities, but everything was in my name because I had better credit and trusted him. He didn't pay rent for months. All right, that's a huge red flag. It doesn't matter if this is a 1-year relationship or a 16-year relationship. The fact that he didn't tell you that he wasn't paying rent for months is a huge problem. My credit is destroyed. After much counseling and therapy, I agreed to a second chance. Okay, so it does sound like they actually work through their problems. Time passes. I move to my grandmother's house after she passes. Find out months later that he hasn't been paying my aunt the money that he owed her, but asked her not to tell me because it will upset me. I wonder why it will all possibly upset OP, who she has a record of him doing financially abusive things. Obviously furious, I told him nothing will be bought. No trips, no games, no going out, literally nothing until he pays her back. I'm so ashamed I could die. Cut to December. Mother-in-law informs us at Christmas that we're going to Disney. With financials, there's literally no way we can do this trip. It's thousands of dollars that we just don't have. I'm genuinely perplexed, but husband is totally on board, agreeing and making plans with mother-in-law. I wait until we're home and ask what he's thinking. We owe my aunt thousands of dollars at this point, and we are not going to go to Disney while I owe her that. It's absurd. Finally, I think he's agreeing with me. The subject is dropped for a few weeks until he comes home one day looking devastated and says that the trip is important beyond measure to his mom. It's their grieving process together. Grandma died 2 years ago. She's offered to buy him out of his portion of the house, the inheritance, and give him the money now so that he can pay everyone back and still do the trip. Logistically, I can't say no. It's in the black, and realistically, who doesn't want to go to Disney? I make him swear that this is taken care of. My aunt confirms all the money is in her account that he owes. A few things that needed repaired get done, and I stupidly believe that he's actually taken care of it. Surprise! He has not, in fact, gotten bought out of his inheritance. He felt too guilty to take it from his mom. What he did was had her pay my aunt and the Disney tickets, but that's it. That's it. Meaning all the reservations, food, gas, etc. will be on us. He insists he did not lie to me and that he simply didn't think the decision was that big of a deal and that I'm overreacting. How could I be okay with beggaring his mother? I flipped out. I called him a bad husband, a bad person, a liar, and pretty much every other name under the sun, and I told him to get out. If he couldn't admit that he lied to me, then I didn't want to look at him. He and his family think that I'm the jerk and that I'm having a massive overreaction, willing to end a 16-year relationship over this when technically what I wanted more than anything was my aunt to be paid, and I got that. After 72 hours of bombardment, I'm starting to feel that like maybe I'm just losing it. So, am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
OP, he has financially abused you in the past, and you have every right to be suspicious of him. You made him promise that this whole situation was taken care of, and he lied to you. I don't think that you're the jerk in this situation, and I don't think you're overreacting. I think, if anything, all of the family is not looking out for your best interests here. They are looking out for his interests. You almost ended this relationship when he financially abused you in the past and lied to you about the finances. And the thing is, you are the victim here. You're the victim of his carelessness, and it's destroying your credit, it's destroying your finances, and you don't deserve that. You can't trust him, and he's shown you that again, that you just can't trust him. So I don't think you're a jerk in this situation, and I think that you have every right to, divorce him at this point in time because he's shown that he has a pattern of behavior of lying, especially in regards to finances, which he promised that he wasn't going to do anymore. So, no, I don't think you're a jerk. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. He lies and manipulates. He trashed your credit and is ruining you financially. Let him go to Disney by himself, send him with divorce papers, and be done with him before he gets back. He is never going to stop lying about money. He wants to spend money like he has extra and won't stop. Let him drown in his debt by himself. Detach your financials from his. He's proven that he can't be trusted. Yeah, not the jerk. I think it's usually counterproductive to try and judge the whole relationship from a single situation, but yeah, divorce. You have to consider if this is how you want to spend the rest of your life. In addition to his financial irresponsibility, he is willing to use whatever tactic it takes to get his way. Lying and concealing information, borrowing money and not repaying it. Let's be real, he showed no intention of paying back your aunt until you insisted. Emotional manipulation, guilting you about his grieving and beggaring his mother. Getting other people to hide things from you, having your aunt be quiet about not getting paid back. Getting other people to harass you, his family bombarding you about your relationship. And this is after you went to counseling and he is already on his second chance. If he wanted to change, he would have. Exactly. All right, folks, it is tea time. I hope you've gotten your drinks ready and hopefully you've got some tea. Amber, do you have tea today?
I do. It's mint tea.
I have a tea as well. I'll let you guess what it is. Why is the letter S a scary letter? Because it makes cream scream.
That's really cute.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. No.
It also makes laughter into slaughter.
Yes, it also makes laughter into slaughter. That's a very scary S.
What kind of tea do you have?
Oh, thank you. All right, folks, and I have mint tea, mega mint tea. Amber over here was like, Brian's about to forget it, and then he's gonna have to record this again later at night and make an addendum. So thank you, Amber.
You're welcome.
All right, folks, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for taking a major financial decision without the input of my fiancé? This is going to be a long post with a lot of background, so please bear with me. I'm a 32-year-old male, and before I was born, my mom found out that my bio father was cheating. They started on the divorce proceedings before she found out that she was expecting. When she told him, he said it was impossible since he was infertile and she must have cheated. He asked for a paternity test, but she was emotionally exhausted. I now suspect that he was abusive, but she never told me so. So she asked that he instead sign away his parental rights since he was so sure that I wasn't his. Then she moved in with my grandparents. That was actually probably really smart on her move. If he is abusive, then he could have used OP as a manipulation token for the entire time that he was growing up. So actually, this was a win-win for her in a lot of ways. When I was 14, I asked her about him and wanted the full story. She told me what I wrote above, and me being the immature teen boy that I was, I threatened to run away unless she contacted him. I thought that she was just being petty, and if he had proof I was his kid, he would be a dad. When she did, he sent this really hurtful letter to both of us, calling her a lot of names that makes my blood boil and accusing her of trying to bleed him dry of his money. That was the day that I decided that I don't need him at all. Well, fast forward to about 8 months ago, I guess he had a near-death experience and tried to contact my mom and apologize for what he did. Of course she refused, but he managed to get a picture of me. I am like his clone. He contacted me saying that he was wrong and immature and that he wanted to get to know the only kid that he had in his life. So I refused. Then he started trying to bribe me to interact with me, offering to pay for my student loans, offering to get me a house, inviting me on expensive trips. I refused everything. I told my fiancée, a 29-year-old female, everything. She was supportive at first, then she started to urge me to get him to pay off our loans and help us get a home. I refused categorically. It is irrelevant to mention that due to the pandemic, we have a lot of debt and we delayed our wedding just to pay some of it down. I got fed up and asked him to meet. I then told him that I will never accept a cent from him, and if he tried to contact me again, I would be calling the cops and doing my best to get a restraining order. When I told my fiancée, she exploded on me. She said that me making a big financial decision without consulting her showed her just how controlling and selfish I am. Now she left and won't answer my calls. Am I the jerk? Since I've seen a lot of this in the comments, no, we are not in a desperate situation. The debt that we decided to pay off, it was all credit card debt. It was less than $6,000, and we are not planning to pay for our wedding by borrowing. That's why we decided to postpone it so we can save for it. We are current on all our bills and are paying extra for the credit card and saving for our wedding at the same time. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
So, I think she has this backwards. I don't think that OP is being controlling. I think she's being controlling and trying to manipulate him into a situation that he isn't comfortable with. And she's doing this under the guise of, oh, well, you're trying to make financial decisions. This isn't about finances. This is about having someone in your life. Someone who you resent and who you have, had a really bad experience with. All she sees is dollar signs. She doesn't view this situation. She doesn't view your emotions in this situation. She doesn't see his emotions in this situation. All she sees are dollar signs. And that right there, I think, is a red flag. You should be able to have who you want in your life, OP, and not feel guilted about it. And especially in something so sensitive like a father who deserted you when you were young. If she had like the noblest intentions here, and was like, well, I think you really should get back together with your father. I think family is important. You would still be under no obligation to mend that fence, but it might still at least be coming from a good place. But this isn't even coming from a good place, and now she's accusing you of being controlling and manipulating when she, I feel like, is the person who's manipulating you. So yeah, I don't think you're a jerk. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. This isn't a big financial decision. This is you squaring away family affairs and making it clear about a relationship with a man that you do not want. Your fiance seems more interested in milking the situation of money rather than giving a care about how you feel. Good riddance, she's left, I'd say. Exactly. Not the jerk, and you've just learned a valuable lesson. Your fiancé is manipulating you for financial gain without any regard for your feelings. She just showed you her true colors. To be honest, the more I think about it, the more I'm appalled by her behavior. She left in an attempt to manipulate you and guilt you into taking money from a possibly abusive person. She has no problem exposing you to a toxic relationship if it means that she'll get money out of it. It seems like she really doesn't care about you. That's kind of what it seems like. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. And if you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
She was supportive at first, then she started to urge me to get him off.